Welcome back to another Lost Season 1 episode review video. Before I get into that though, pretty important, if you aren't caught up to the point where I am at rewatching or watching Lost, or you're just not entirely sure, then you definitely need to take the initiative and pay attention to the episode's title, which of course I'll mention, as well as put in the description. If that happens to be the case and you find out that you're not caught up, it would be my recommendation that you don't watch this video any further to avoid any potential spoilers. And as far as my history with Lost goes, I started watching this show in Season 5. My roommate was a huge Lost fan, and he kind of clued me in on what's going on. Some of the stuff I was lost on, but I watched the entirety of Season 5 and then watched Season 6 and eventually watched all the other seasons as well. In 2014, I want to say I rewatched the show again, and in 2020, I rewatched the show. So I've seen it at least 3 times. Definitely wanted to watch it again because this is one of the best shows out there. I know some people think that opinion is crazy, but I love Lost. It's in my top 5 of all time as far as TV shows go. So make sure you join me on this journey and let's rewatch the show together. So with all that said, this will be Lost, Season 1, Episode 4. The title of this episode is called Walkabout. And this will be my review, reaction, recap after just finishing watching the episode. So we start off by focusing with the plane crashing on the island. And this time the character spotlight is on the character of John Locke. Locke appears to be fixated on the fact that his right foot is moving. And then John goes to put his shoe on. Now back to present time, Vincent the dog is barking. Walt doesn't know what's wrong with him. Everyone begins to wake up as they hear more noises other than Vincent barking. So I think we know what Vincent's barking about now. Jack, Sawyer, Charlie, and Kate, but mainly Jack and Sawyer go to investigate. And it turns out it was a few boars, and they were going, they were in the fuselage of the plane, and then they go running away. Charlie gets cut while running from the boars. Nothing big. Jack attends to the wound, and Jack says that we need to burn the bodies on the fuselage because they're going to stink. It's getting hot. They probably already do stink. They've been on the island now for 4 days, and no one's come. Jack says we'll burn the bodies at sundown, and then Charlie asks Kate, why wait till sundown? And Kate says that the hope is that someone will see the smoke. Saeed doesn't agree with Jack. He's trying to pick up the transmission. Saeed says or thinks that there's a power source on the island. He's going to try and triangulate the signal. Michael gathers some wood. Walt wants to see what Mr. Locke is doing, and Michael thinks that Mr. Locke doesn't want to be bothered by a kid, and Walt says, at least he talks to me. Sawyer and Hurley fight over some peanuts. Apparently, the rest of the food is gone. Saeed says we can find some food. Sawyer wonders exactly how they'll find some stuff. And then John Locke throws a knife, and it goes right next to Sawyer and says, we hunt. Jack asks, okay, Mr. Locke, what exactly is it that we're hunting? And Locke says, boars. And then Sawyer mentions to Jack, because he gave a little bit longer of a speech than just boars, and you gave him his knife back, and Jack says, you got a better idea? And Sawyer says, it's the best idea I've heard. Locke actually has a collection of knives. And then we see a flashback of John Locke working before, of course, the events of the plane crash. Locke has a desk job in a box company. Locke's boss, Randy, needs his TPS reports. What is this, the movie Office Space? I don't know if you're not familiar with Office Space. There's a boss that says, I'm going to need your TPS report, okay? So anyway, Jack wonders why Kate always signs up for something dangerous, and Kate thinks Jack is worried about her. She's going because Saeed gave her something to locate the distress signal, and Kate says she's a vegetarian, so she's not going for the meat. Michael wants Sun to keep an eye on Walt, and she responds with something in a different language, but she seems to get the general concept that he wants her to watch Walt. Claire goes to talk to Jack. Claire gives Jack wedding plans for Steve and Kristen, who apparently died during the crash or whenever it happened, but their stuff is on the plane. Boone tells Shannon that the woman is still sitting there as her husband was on the plane. This is the woman that Jack gave CPR to and revived her. Boone doesn't think that Shannon can catch a fish. Locke tells Kate and Michael we're close as they're out looking for the boar or boars. Shannon asks Charlie if he wants to go for a walk. She asks him if he knows anything about fishing. Boone tells Jack about the woman that's sitting by herself, as Jack was the one that saved her life, like I mentioned in the pilot episode of Lost. So Jack goes to talk to Rose, that's the woman's name, and Jack offers her some water and wants her to take care of herself, and she just sits there quiet. She's got like a wedding ring around her neck, and she's just holding it, looking, at the ocean. And then Kate, Locke, and Michael get knocked over by the boar. Michael injured, or getting injured in the process and bleeding. Back to Locke working at the box company. Locke is playing a board game with a coworker on his lunch, and then Randy, again, Locke's boss, asks him to tell him more about being a leader, and like makes fun of him, like, what would you know about being a leader? And then Locke tells Randy he's just playing a game, and he asks Locke about what this Walkabout is, because Locke has information on his desk, and he looked at the information. And Randy tells Locke he's not a hunter, and he can't do any of that. And Locke tells Randy, just don't tell me what I can't do. One of the more famous lines in Lost. Remember it. Don't tell me what I can't do. Well, in this case, it's just don't tell me what I can't do. Back to the island, Kate tells John Locke that Michael's hurt. John tells, he says, Helen, he's fine. And Kate says, Helen? You called me Helen. And he's like, just take Michael back to the camp and I'll get what we need. And he tells Kate he can do this. And Kate says, John, you can't. And then, of course, John Locke responds with, don't tell me what I can't do. Don't tell me what I can't do. Famous line in the show, amongst a couple other famous lines. Hurley tries to catch his fish with Charlie. Neither of them have any success. Claire finds a letter that has the name Saeed on it and gives the letter to Saeed. It's like pictures inside or it's an envelope, I should say, not a letter. It's an envelope with pictures and other stuff in there, and she gives that to Saeed. And then Saeed's like, I thought I lost this. Thank you. And then Rose finally talks. She tells Jack his fingers swell. Her husband, Bernard, he went to the bathroom because his fingers swell. And Rose tells Jack that he doesn't need to keep her company anymore, because on the plane, he made a promise to keep her company when her husband, left. And she's like, I'm not going to hold you to that anymore. And then she tells Jack that he has a good soul. And then we're back to another Locke flashback. He's talking to this Helen character on the phone about telling Randy off. He tells Helen he's going to Australia for the Walkabout, and then I think Helen is like a phone sex person, and she's going to charge Locke another, $80 to $90, and he doesn't seem to care about the money. He just wants to tell this lady about this Walkabout that he's really excited about. And then we see that Kate, back on the island, climbs a tree to place the signal booster to triangulate where the signal's coming from. And then Kate unfortunately drops the booster when she hears something in the jungle moving very fast, and the trees are moving as my nose itches all of a sudden, and it's broken now. And something has also startled John Locke. Sun has something that she's using like toothpaste. It's like a leave that she's using to like brush her teeth, that she shows Walt. Michael and Kate have returned to the camp. The mighty huntress returns, Sawyer says. Kate says, not now. Walt asks about where Mr. Locke is to his father. Charlie has caught a fish for Shannon. So Shannon used her good looks to have somebody do something for her when Boone's like, you can't do stuff for yourself. So that wasn't really quite what he meant. But anyway, Jack tells Rose when the sun goes down, we're going to burn the fuselage. Rose would like to be there for that. Rose says, Doctor, my husband is not dead. And Jack says everyone in that section of the plane is gone. And Rose says, they're probably thinking the same thing about us. And then for a second, Jack sees who we'll later find out is his father, Christian Shepherd. At least he thinks he sees him. And then it disappears, so maybe he's just hallucinating. And then Kate tells Saeed the bad news that she dropped the booster and it broke. Kate tells Jack Locke's gone, but then Jack sees his father in a suit again, and then Locke appears, dragging the boar. And then Crullaire reads some stuff about the people that died in the fuselage, as has been, they lit it on fire. Charlie's doing more of his heroin. Michael tells Locke, nice work, killing the boar. And Locke says he didn't get a look at the thing heading towards him to Michael. And then we have another flashback for Locke. He's at a place talking to a guy at a desk, and he demands to get on the bus, but they don't want him on the bus due to his condition. And then Locke says, don't talk to me about fare. And Locke says he can do this. And then the guy's like, no, you can't. We see that John Locke is in a wheelchair. Do you know who you're dealing with? Do you know who you're dealing with? Don't ever tell me what I can't do ever. Don't ever tell me what I can't do ever. This is my destiny. This is my destiny. I'm supposed to do this, damn it. Don't tell me what I can't do. And then we see Locke put his shoe on. It's back to the island. He puts his shoe on, kind of tailing to the beginning of the episode, surprised that his foot is moving, and then he stands up, and then he goes to give Jack a hand. That was in the pilot episode. And then we see the wheelchair, and Locke looks at this wheelchair, and that's what ends this episode of Lost. So pretty fun episode. One of the better episodes to start the series. I'm going to score it an 8.7 out of 10. Obviously, the character of the episode is John Locke because it's centered around him, but also special recognition to Jack and Kate as they're really fun as well. So yeah, I really like this one. It's one of my favorite ones from the earlier episodes. So you've heard everything that I have to say. Now it's your turn. If you're a fan of Lost and you want to help me out with the YouTube algorithm, please consider Hulk smashing the like button. And remember, I cover a lot of stuff on the channel. The easiest way to do that, to see what I'm covering, go to my playlist. I cover Walking Dead stuff, Breaking Bad stuff, Shameless stuff, Lucifer stuff, UFC live fight reactions, Dexter stuff, movie franchise ranking videos, and all that and more. So share the video with a friend. Put this video on any one of your social media platforms. Don't forget to sound off in the comment section about what your thoughts are on this episode of Lost. What would you rate the episode? And whom, if you had to choose, would be your character of the episode? Or spotlight characters, maybe somebody that was a good performer but not focused on enough. And then last but certainly not least, don't forget to hit that sub button. You're watching the video anyway. Subscribe to the channel, join the team. Don't tell me what I can't do. Show your damn support and be a part of something special. And you never know what you're going to see on JDev TV.